Let me ask you something. If I tell you to lend your money to a random person, will you do it? Now, what if I tell you to lend your money to the government? Because that is exactly what Treasury bill is all about. But most people hear it and they keep quiet because it sounds complicated. Treasury bills, those are big words. So because of that, they don't even bother to try to understand what does this mean, what is it talking about, and they just move on quietly. Today we are going to be dissecting Treasury bills. What is Treasury bills? When you hear Treasury bills, what should you think about? I am going to be teaching you Treasury bills like a 5-year-old child. In fact, after teaching you Treasury bills, you will be able to teach your daughter or your son or your niece or your nephew or your cousin or your friend, anybody, you will be able to teach them Treasury bills because you're going to be very equipped after watching this video. If you're meeting me for the first time, my name is Ami. I spent over 15 years of my life in the banking industry as a banker before I transitioned into data analysis. Right now, I work with data as a data analyst. I'm not just talking about money. I actually understand how money behaves. I study patterns, I study behaviors. If you have ever been confused about money, hold up, you are at the right place. Let's dive in. Imagine you have money and the federal government comes to you and says, please, can you borrow me this your money for a short period, for example, 90 days, and I'm going to return your money with extra. Not just the amount you gave me, but with extra known as interest. Are you going to do that? That is what Treasury bill is all about. Instead of lending your money to a random person, you're giving it to the federal government. They should use it to run the country and return it with an interest. Is that one not a correct way to put in your money, knowing that you can go to bed with your eyes closed? In definition, Treasury bills are short-term investments issued by the federal government. You're lending your money to the government and they are paying you back with interest. The name Treasury means government money. Treasury, government. You remember when they tell you, oh, the treasury is leaking. Oh, the treasury, there's nothing in our treasury. Oh, our treasury is going down. Treasury is associated with government. Now, bills are known to be short-term debts. When we talk about short-term, that means it cannot exceed a year. So, treasury bills means a short-term loan to the government. Let's talk about the duration of Treasury bills. In Nigeria, we have different types of days and rates and tenors. But one thing is fixed when it comes to Treasury bill is the fact that Treasury bill does not exceed 12 months. That is why it is called a short-term debt, short-term loan to the government. It is short-term. Anything that exceeds 12 months becomes a bond. That is the difference between a Treasury bill and a bond. Once you hear bill, is associated with short-term debts that do not exceed 12 months. But once you hear bonds, you understand that bonds are long-term investments. Now, how does Treasury bill work? For Treasury bills, your interests are paid upfront. It's not like other types of investments that you invest at the end of the month or at the end of the year. You take your principal plus your interest. No. For Treasury bills, once you do that Treasury bill, you get your interest first. Let me give you an example. You want to invest 1 million naira. For some banks, they take the whole 1 million out and they credit you back almost immediately, telling you interest on Treasury bills. So that way you're not confused. But for some of them, they net it off. That means the amount you're investing minus the profit you're supposed to get, they net it off and they take the remaining, leaving the rest for you there as your profit. So you can either take out the full amount or they take out the net amount. We have two types of Treasury bills. We have the primary market and the secondary market. For primary market, think of it like this. Apple releases iPhone 18 Pro Max today. And you walk into Apple office and you tell Apple, I want to get the latest iPhone, and they sell it to you. You bought it directly from Apple. That is primary market. So, relate to the Treasury market in Nigeria. When you buy directly from the federal government, that is what we call the primary market. But now, can you walk into CBN and tell CBN, I want to buy Treasury bills? No, because people are not allowed to transact with CBN directly. They go through their representatives, which in this case are the banks. Now, the banks liaise with CBN through something we call auction. Through that auction, The people buy straight from CBN through their banks. Of course, if everybody starts going to CBN, it will be rowdy. Imagine 1 million people going to CBN office, I want to buy treasury bill. That means they won't be able to do anything that day. So that is why the CBN does not liaise with individuals directly when it comes to treasury bill. You go through a bank or a fintech or any financial organization that is allowed. So the banks and the fintechs and all the big companies, they come together and they bid. In this primary market, the customer is allowed to quote the amount the person wants. So if they go for that bidding and that money that you have quoted, that rate you have quoted is not enough, of course they are not going to deal with you. Your own is to return failed. Most banks, what they do is, in order to ensure that they help their customers get, they will tell you to quote at the bank's prevailing rate for that day. You just write it so that if they go for that bidding and any amount they get it for that is convenient, they just buy it without coming back to you to tell you, oh, you wrote 13 but it's bidding for 15. Do you understand? So let's move to secondary market. You remember the iPhone 18 you bought straight from Apple. Let's assume after 6 months you're in need of money and the only way you can raise money is to sell that your iPhone. Instead of you to go scouting for money everywhere, you go carry that your iPhone and you sell it to a friend, or you sell it to a random person that wants to buy, but the person does not want to go to Apple office. The person does not mind buying from you. You sell it from that person and you recover your money. That is secondary market. It's as simple as that. So in secondary market, you're not dealing directly with CBN. You're dealing with people that want to sell their primary market that they have purchased, and you buy it off from them instead of dealing with CBN. It's that simple. Let me make it more practical. You invested 1 million naira for 365 days, but then after 200 days, you have an urgent need for that money, and your 165 days is still outstanding, and you know for treasury, break it, you're going to lose money, right? So what you do is you go to the secondary market and look for other investors that are willing to buy up that your 1 million naira for that remaining 165 days. So you sell it to them and you make your money back. But one thing I want you to know about secondary market is that the rates might be higher or lower depending on the time you want to sell. You, as they buy in, you may buy it cheaper, you may buy it even more expensive. There is nothing giving you a guarantee that you're going to make profit as far as it's secondary market. So even if you go to the bank to buy your treasury bills, it can be primary market, it can be secondary market, and that is why your returns are different. Two people can do 1 million naira and their interest rates are different because it's dependent on market. Was it primary or secondary, or the rate or the timing? So there is nothing that guarantees a fixed return for two people that did 1 million naira on the same day. Now, another thing I want to discuss is who treasury bills are for. Treasury bill is not for everybody. So if you do not fall into this category of people that I'm about to talk about now, please, you might want to look for other forms of investment. Don't come to treasury bill. Number one, the people that do not want stress. I don't want stress kind of people. Treasury bill is for you. Just come here because you're dealing with the government, so your money is not going to disappear. It is stable and it focuses on growth and stability. So you don't have to worry about anything, trying to monitor investment and so on and so forth. Busy people, busy with business, family, work, you don't have time to monitor investment. Please come and do treasury bill. If you're a beginner, you also have to consider doing treasury bills. I would always say you cannot learn how to swim with your 2 legs inside water. Please, the water will carry you away. So please start with this low type of investment, the low risk, which treasury bill is sitting comfortably on. Treasury bill is for money preservation. Now, if you're looking for capital preservation, you might want to look for treasury bill because yes, the rates might not be as high as other form of higher risk investment, but it is also better for you because you know that your money is not going anywhere, your money is not going to disappear. You have left it with government and you're sure that your money is coming back. So that is why if you're looking at preserving your money, you have to look towards treasury bills. So let's go to the pros. Number one, low risk. You're lending your money to the federal government, like I said, so you don't have anything to worry about. Number two, predictable income. It is something that is predictable. If you want to know how much this will earn you, it is easier to calculate. You can predict what you're going to be making from your treasury bills because you have a fixed rate. No daily monitoring. You don't need to monitor it every day. Just go and do what you want to do and sleep. You don't need to worry about anything as far as it has to do with treasury bill. Short-term flexibility. You know that the money you're putting in is just for 1 year. Whatever it is you do is not going to exceed 1 year. So if it's money that you don't want to touch, you can just go and put it in treasury bill on you till you're ready to use it. For example, if you know that you're going to be using it in 6 months time, you look for a treasury bill that is going to be ending towards that time that you want to use it. So it is better for you because you know that it is just for a short period of time. Now, what are the disadvantages? Something that has advantages like this, how come it's having disadvantages? Now, let me list out the disadvantages of treasury bill. Number one, the interest rate is not crazily high. If you're looking for something that is very high, you don't mind doing high risk, you want the return to be as sharp as possible, then treasury bill might not be for you, my dear. Inflation can eat your returns. If inflation is driving up so high in a country, the returns you might get from your treasury bill might feel small. Because imagine you fix your money at 15% when inflation was still at 14%, and then the inflation is going up crazily, and you come back next year to come and take out your money and inflation is already at 19%. It has even passed your interest rate. That means you practically made almost nothing from that investment, right? So that is one disadvantage of treasury bill. Inflation might catch up with your profits. Number three, your money is locked. Most times, you're expected to wait till maturity. If you decide to break it before maturity, you're going to be losing money because there are conditions attached. So if you have any urgency for your money, you might look for other ways of raising that money because there are penalties attached for breaking your treasury bills. For some people, they will see it as a plus, but for some people, they will see it as a minus. Treasury bills will not make you rich overnight. It is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not MMM. But it will help you protect your money and it will help you build discipline. So that is why I advise every beginner, if you're looking at building discipline, look for treasury bills. Imagine locking your money up for 1 year. Imagine it. Like, you know that anyhow, you're not going to have access to this money. It will help you. In my next video, I'm going to be breaking down fixed deposits. I will break it down in such a way that it will feel so easy for you to understand. And also, if you have not seen my video where I spoke about interest rates, how to calculate interest rates in this Nigeria of our today, so that you don't make mistakes, so that loan sharks you up and down, sending your pictures to everybody, you might have to go and watch this video on interest rates because I know it's going to be profitable. See you in my next video. Bye.